Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com, as well as YouTube. Please like and subscribe. I have a brand new guest on. I'm happy to have Marc Fishman on, and we're going to talk about, the false arrest and disability discrimination of this disabled dad during supervised visitation, as well as a 6-year pending lawsuit on the subject in front of Judge Nelson Roman. So I welcome you, Marc Fishman, to the podcast. We have a lot to talk about because there's a lot cooking in New York State. It ain't good.
Thank you, Maryann, for having me. This is wonderful, to share the good news and to continue your dedicated advocacy and those who tirelessly fight for parents whose constitutional and ADA and discrimination rights have been violated. We are winning in federal court. A lot of us are winning, finally. Takes a long time, but we see a lot of change happening, a lot of reform, and a lot of federal attention, finally, to disability rights.
Well, that's great. They're so trampled on. I've gone into Court Watch for people, and they don't want to hear about the ADA.
Correct. Title II of the ADA and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act are the anti-discrimination laws involving places of public accommodations. Public accommodations are anything done by state government. State governments under Title II of the ADA, Maryann, must give the disabled party the preferred requested accommodation, unless two reasons. It's an undue cost and an undue change to the program. In my case, I hired an ADA advocate. Her name was Donna Drum. She was an associate at the Bowie's law firm, Bowie's, who was the Bowie's in Gore versus Bush in the election. Very astute attorney. And I hired her to describe my disabilities to the judge and to the court system and ask for accommodations after I failed. And after my disabilities, primarily being invisible disabilities, were not easily definable, meaning I have tinnitus. Tinnitus, those who aren't aware, is ringing in the left ear. I was hit by a bus by the school, had a traumatic brain injury. So I have ringing in my left ear. I have 7 nerves in the rear neck called occipital neuralgia. I have traumatic brain injury. I have TMJ. I have 2 neurostimulators. So my 2 neurostimulators are in each chest, left and right. One is a hypoglossal, Maryann, that enables me to sleep at night by opening my throat and tongue so I don't gag to death. The other one is for pain. And the pain one I'll show you comes with this neurostimulator here. It applies to my chest and it gives 24/7 electric stimulation to override 7 nerves in the rear of the head for what's called the headache suicide disorder called occipital neuralgia. Endless headaches, endless burning. They can't repair the nerves. They can't change them. So they overload them with stimulation. I've had my stimulator now since 2014, and it's lifesaver. Enables me to get off the walker, enables me to drive, enables me not to have vertigo, enables me to concentrate. When it's not on, my face droops. I'm in constant pain, can't function. And, instead of, as you said, the courts accommodating these disabilities, which were rather very basic. We didn't ask the court to spend money. Right. We said, can my note taker attend court? No, denied. Why? You can take your own notes. No, I can't. I have cubital tunnel syndrome. Can I use a tape recorder? No. You can write your own notes. No, I can't write. I have cubital tunnel. Cubital tunnel is when the nerves are severed in the elbow. I don't write form letters. Can I use my iPad at my Dragon? No. You can't have any of this on. Okay. Can I bring in a note taker? No. Okay. Can I video record? No. Okay. Can I get real-time transcription? No, because you're not hearing impaired. The people that deny this, are you a doctor? We talk about judges. Are you a doctor? Are you a medical person? Because Maryann, like you and everybody else, they forced me to spend $169,000 on all their evaluations, psych, social worker, neuropsych, psychological. What do they say? Mr. Fishman has a hearing impairment. Mr. Fishman has a memory impairment. Mr. Fishman needs help with hearing. Mr. Fishman needs a note taker. And Judge Shower, my first family court judge, says, I don't care what those reports say. Okay? You remember when you want to. The record indicates that you lie and you misrepresent the court And I'll give you one example, Mr. Fishman. You told me so proudly how you took your twins, Sky and Aiden, to Orlando 2 years ago, and what a good time you had. But when I asked you why you delivered the kids late 5 minutes to visitation last week, you look at me like you don't remember anything. Judge, I don't. It's called short-term memory impairment. Look at my Wesker test scores and Ray complex figure. I'm at 4% of a then 44-year-old. 10 years ago, Mary, right? Okay. No, those records lie. They lie. Columbia University lies. Neuropsych at Cornell lies. Can these people come testify? No. You remember when you want to. Lies the record. And so then she went so far after denying note taker over and over again. We tried to appeal. And in New York, you can't appeal an interim order. Why not? The ADA doesn't say that. The ADA says you got to accommodate. So, this resulted in years of federal litigation. And I'm happy to say that I'm still in federal court from 2018. My cases have not all been dismissed. And as you said, we are getting federal relief, even though we have to fight tooth and nail.
Well, I'm glad you're having this success. My case did not, my case failed, but there was collusion there. But I talked to other parents and people with class action lawsuits, and they're failing. What is the key to keep it in and alive in federal court?
Well, Maryann, I grew up with a family of disabilities. My disabilities, I was hit by a bus dropping my third grader off at school in Ward School. And it was a security van driven by Goldman Sachs Security Company. And it's resulted in 24 surgeries, 8 implants, 2 batteries. I live with pain. My dad was born with one leg, 8 inches long on the other. He's had over 120 operations. The first 12 years were in a hospital. My sister is learning disabled. My son Jonah is autistic and has cancer. And my nephew Jake is disabled. So to answer your question, being around disabled people develops a certain level of resilience in me and others. We've been told no so often, we're immune to no. No is until we convince you to say yes when we're dealing with insurance companies and the government, because we don't accept the no answer. No is unacceptable. We will win this. And so if one door closes, you open another one. If one federal lawsuit fails, you appeal it, you sue another time. Okay, I had 3 federal lawsuits, I'm happy to say. In the first one, I got an order, as you mentioned, July 16, 21, from the Federal Appeals Court, ordering New York State, Nancy Barry, 5 family court judges, the head of ADA, Dan Weiss, to provide communication accommodations. They said they'd comply with it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. There's no enforcement mechanism in New York. So those of us now are trying to get the state legislatures to move enforcing ADA accommodations in the court system from being self-regulated to being regulated by New York State human rights. The judiciary and the legislature are the only 2 parties human rights doesn't have jurisdiction on, unless it's an employee. So what New York human rights says, we found discrimination, but we don't have jurisdiction over policies and procedures. What policy and procedure? I'm a hearing impaired man, and I couldn't bring in my note taker. I didn't get real-time transcription. I couldn't record. What policies and procedures? I was denied access, no different than a guy in a wheelchair denied access. So you play the various games, you get the delays. And again, because the court eventually allowed me to have a disability aid and eventually allowed me to have a customized supervised visitation, they were forced to have a lot of these accommodations. And the accommodations, in my case, a disability aid during visits and a supervisor familiar with disabilities is not only helpful to me and my disabled son when we had visits, but it was helpful to provide, as you're aware, Maryann, a record. There's witnesses to their disability discrimination in the court-supervised program of supervised visitation. So when the cops went to arrest me, because I went to their precinct December 15, 2018, to report that my ex-wife was not giving the autistic child to my supervisor, Ann Elliott, and my disability aide, Isabel Bovar, I went to the cops to make a report and to enforce the visitation order. I said to the cops at the window that I'm hearing impaired. I don't hear them. Utilizing captioning, which you so gracefully have provided during this hearing. It's words in the bottom of the screen here. A lot of us use it. I utilize it on my phone. I utilize it day to day. It helps me comprehend and register words because a lot of the words come out as echoes if I just hear them. And if my stimulator is dialing on high, because it cycles electric on or off, my left ear is numb. I won't hear gaps. So I read the words. So what I'm saying to you is I asked the cops for this. I asked the cops from my aide to assist me to show them the visitation order that Judge Shower made 28 pages, double-sided, single-spaced, so that, if you have TBI, you would understand it. Those of us with brain injury, you get a half-page order with 3 sentences. It comes very simple. No. Judge Shower wanted this to fail. But the bottom line is on our visits is that, we had 2 Saturdays a month, the 1st and the 15th. If I missed it for every reason, the visit's canceled. If my ex missed the visit, then the visit's automatically next Saturday. Very simple. That's what it was. No communication with me. All communication with Ann Elliott. We had done visits at that time for about a year. Went to go pick up my kid in New Rochelle. I wasn't driving, Maryann, because, Judge Shower thinks that she could be the doctor. And because, she thinks that I'm impaired driving, she makes me have an aide. So I have an aide who drove. I didn't drive. And as I said, after we stopped 3 houses away, and the supervisor went to pick up the kid, it was denied. And I went to the police station thinking like, oh, the police station are truth, morals, ethical people. No. Police discriminate, have quotas. They hate disabled people. They think we're inferior. And they think that we have no rights. So, that's part of the story. And, I think I'll let you chime in before I keep going.
Well, a lot of these judges assume they have medical degrees. I saw this in my own case. They think they can throw something out as far as you having some medical issue or mental health issue. They're not doctors. They need to stay in their own lane with that. And this ADA, they've got to start accepting it. They're still resistant to it. Why do you think that is?
So, Maryann, you're absolutely right. We have a lot of good judges out there, a lot of great judges, that hear from all sides. I find most of them are in federal court. Federal court seems to allow everyone to speak, everyone to have time, everyone to take their turn, and doesn't tolerate anyone interrupting anybody. And, some of us like me, ask to bring our note taker, yes, and I want to put my papers out and organize them a half hour before court as an accommodation, yes. In state court, they're like, screw you. You can't organize anything. And your note taker can't come in, and it's a private hearing. And you can't have any aides. You hear fine. You hear when you want to, And so, it's this dictatorship thing, and this kingdom. And the thing going back to the Middle Ages where, a lot of judges think that they're a king or queen, right? And that you're their serf, you're their slave, and you got no rights, you're a peon. And, oh, you're different than someone else. Well, screw you. You're going to get punishment worse because you're going to make me work harder because I got to read your accommodation request, which Judge Shower called absurd, ridiculous. And what new ways are you going to think of to request an accommodation now? Wow, she's bothered by my accommodation request that came through my $35,000 paid AG advocate who, would get $500 a day to stand up every time the judge yelled at me and said, you can't yell at him. He's a disabled person. He's speaking. She said, I told him to stop. Yeah, but he can't hear because you didn't give us note taker. You didn't activate real-time transcription. And the judge said, well, I don't have to because the court system said he's not disabled. And then the AG advocate would say, New York State law, S 5533B, 2015, signed by Governor Cuomo, my good friend Maryann. What it says is if you are hard of hearing or hearing impaired and you request an interpreter or real-time transcription, the court will provide it to you for free, on demand. It doesn't say you have to be 10% hearing impaired. It doesn't say you need a doctor's certification. It doesn't say you need to go climb Mount Everest to prove you're disabled. It says if you're hearing impaired, the accommodation will provide, and every single court in the state of New York will have this accommodation. So Maryann, my good friend, all the judge has to do is push a button, like you and I did. Push the button, activate captioning. No, Fishman don't get it. Because Fishman sues judges in federal court and Fishman's cases don't get dismissed. What does that have to do with me getting the accommodation? And that's what this really came down to. And so, yes, every courtroom in New York State had this accommodation. Matter of fact, this system called CART, C-A-R-T, gives you a free transcript. My accommodation was giving me the transcript because those of us who know in family court, we don't have minute takers or court reporters. We have digital and audio transcripts. You know what that means? Oh, that means when the judge feels like signing off that you can order the transcript, you'll get a transcript 6 to 8 months later after you pay a ridiculous amount of money, $1,000, like a half hour's worth. And on every page, they'll have 14 inaudibles. Mark said inaudible. Judge said inaudible. Mark inaudible, inaudible,
Oh,
inaudible. And
geez.
then you find out, oh, OCA said Westchester Family Court in Yonkers and New Rochelle. The courtrooms were inaudible. They're too noisy. They didn't meet OCA standards. So no one could hear, even if you didn't have a hearing impairment. Oh, but did OCA close the courtrooms? Oh, not until some of us sued in federal court. Now we have a New Rochelle courtroom. Now we have a new Yonkers courtroom. This is the nonsense. The more you sue, the more you win, the more you prove a point. They hate you. They want you dead. They want you in a cell 10 feet under. They don't care. They think that they unite, they stand together, they're going to be protected. You know, federal judge Ken Karras, very fair judge, proved 94-0 in the Senate. Republican conservative. He had Judge Shower served at her Ossining mansion with blue jackets, federal marshals, and yellow writing. So what? So Judge Shower comes to me and says, Mr. Fishman, it's your fault. Marshals came to my court. Do you want to go back to jail? I said, Judge, go back to jail for what? She says, you disobeyed a court order. I said, no, Judge, my daughter ordered Amazon because I gave her a gift card 2 years ago for $1,000 and she ordered a bunch of boxes. No, Mr. Fishman, you sent them. It was you violating an order because my order of protection said you can only send gifts on major holidays. And Passover, Easter, Memorial Day, July 4th, your kid's birthday is not a major holiday. Your Honor, I didn't send the gifts. My daughter did. You know, and Judge Shower said, jail, 3 weeks. Yeah, jail hospital. So when Judge Shower did that again and threatened again with the federal marshal saying, I caused it. I said, Judge Shower, all due respect, the respect you never showed me or my family, okay? I don't have any power to send federal marshals anywhere. If Judge Rahman determined that I qualified for informed pauperis and he ordered marshals to serve you, here's Mary. Mary is his secretary. Here's her phone number. You can call Mary and you can tell Judge Rahman you're unhappy that he had marshals serve you. Because I can tell you, Marc Fishman with 2 batteries in his chest and a metal hip and wires in his head didn't call up any marshals to serve you anything. But if Judge Rahman did, maybe he felt that there was validity to my federal lawsuit.
Right. Yeah, your lawsuit had merit and they don't like it. They don't like anyone who's a pro se. They hate pro ses. It's really sad that it's that unfair. And so you went to jail for 3 weeks all over a gift card, basically.
Correct. The mother brought in 26 empty boxes that had the return name Fishman from Amazon. And she said, these are from you. And I said, these are not from me. I said, my mother, my aunt, and my daughter sent gifts. And she says, oh, okay. I let your mother come in to testify. She didn't show up to show that these were her receipts. I said, I don't go shopping on Amazon. I don't go to Neiman Marcus. I don't go to Claire's. I'm a Nordstrom guy. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
Okay? But Judge Shower, I gave you her accountant's certified records and her credit card receipts and her payments. So she sent some of the boxes. My daughter sent the other one. And Judge Shower says, no, any mother would come in to my court to testify they sent the gifts to prevent their son from going to jail. I said, my mother is dying of breast cancer. Okay? You might have my ass, but you cannot have hers. And I held up my arms like this to go cuff me. Because if she thought I would let her ruin the last couple of years of my mother's life, you know what? As the divorce judge said to my ex-wife, she says, you see that ass over there? That's Fishman's ass. That's your ass. You see the parents that aren't here? That's not yours. Okay? You know what? My mother, rest her soul, died of breast cancer in January of 2020. And yes, I kept my word. I did not make her go to family court to go testify in some ridiculous scheme that only people like me and you can lose. Okay, because Judge Shower says if she don't come testify, then my mother thinks I'm lying. So my mother is above your nonsense, and we won't dignify her last couple of breaths with having to come entertain you in your courtroom with your nonsense. If you want to put me in jail, go ahead. I ain't afraid. Go ahead. They put me in jail hospital anyway. I'm too dangerous for major circulation. You and I had a small chat before, and I have implants in the chest, Maryann. These are batteries. These are explosive. If I get punched in the chest, I'm dead. If I go through the metal detectors, they rupture. They don't want me in jail. They need 24-hour nurses. They need 24-hour security. They have 4 cameras on me. They had cameras everywhere in the Westchester County Jail, except when you were on the stall or you took a shower. Other than that, you got no privacy. And what did jail teach me? Jail taught me how to write a federal lawsuit. Because since I had very little to do except be in a lot of pain, because they wouldn't give me a pillow to sleep at night, I used a half-size pencil to start writing my federal lawsuit. That's what I did. She encouraged me. She made me someone who was very dangerous. And I don't say that in a violent sense, Maryann. I say it in a sense like this. They strip searched me 9 times a day. They looked in cavities and places I don't even know exist. There's no privacy. So what'd you do? You created the ultimate federal disability discriminating plaintiff lawyer. You can't take anything away from me. You took it all away. You took away my peace, my ability to sleep at night. You took away my pillow, my privacy. Okay. You took away my dignity. You took away my underwear. You don't even give me a toothbrush. You don't even give me a piece of paper. But one thing I found out was, the warden was pretty happy to hear me, because by having me there, he had me write accommodations for all his disabled prisoners. And guess what, Maryann? A lot of people in court who are disabled for their symptoms of disability. They don't know how to address them. It's ridiculous, absurd. Someone's in jail in Westchester for a 6-month sentence. For what? Maryann, what'd they do? They accepted $1 in front of Pizza Hut. They took $1 bill. Oh my God. 6 months in jail? What? Mandatory. What'd he do? Did he put a gun up? No. He signed a 4 years for $1. I spoke to someone else. What are you in jail for? Oh, I stole a can of Coke and a sandwich from the Target snack bar. I said, really? I said, I'm a business owner. Did you ever just think if you're hungry? Or did you just go to the manager and say, Manager, my name is Sam. I'm hungry. They're going to give you food for free 9 out of 10 times. You don't have to steal anything. This is who's in jail. This is who's in county jail. Yeah.
At taxpayers' expense.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. If only the taxpayer knew.
So let's talk about the positives. Maryann, there's always a positive. You guys at family court, made me have a supervised visitation provider, $500 a day for 8 hours. You made me get a disability aid. Okay, another $500. You made me hire a car for the disability aid to drive. You made me go through hoops to go see my kids 2 Saturdays a month. You created 2 witnesses. So when I was at the police station, and I asked to make the police report, give me a police report number, kindly and politely, like you, very professionally, no threatening, in my sweatpants and my T-shirt and my fleece, with my snowman hat on, not threatening, no safety threat. I was turned down. I was shut down, and all the cops wanted to know is that why I am in the city of New Rochelle, because in their interpretation, the order of protection has no carve-out visitation, and it means I shouldn't be in the city of New Rochelle. Let's see. My dog's vet is in New Rochelle. My surgeon on my arm is in New Rochelle. My physical therapist is in New Rochelle. My chiropractor is in New Rochelle. Oh, but Marc Fishman sues judges in federal court, so he shouldn't be in New Rochelle. Are you guys making that up in the order? Let my aide come in and bring the orders. Let her go to the car, and we can go over all the orders with you. And you can give me a pen and paper so we can interpret them, because I have a headache and I can't do this on my own. No. Then I show him my brain injury card and my implant card. It says, call my doctor or call my father or call my advocate, because I speak tangentially. I'm not organized. I need help. I need a note taker. I need aid. And the cop said, Officer Lane Schlesinger, now fired Schlesinger, I don't have to read your cards and I don't have to give you any accommodations. So this is where we get to the fact that, Judge Shower and my ex-wife and their legal service Hudson Valley and all their little peons and their teams to try and make sure you lose and have no dignity, have no respect, have no privacy. This is where they use the greatest weapon. You asked me, Maryann, what is the greatest weapon? How do you work around these people? Well, Marc Fishman's shield is his mirror. The mirror. All you do is, after they're finishing, call me every deviant word and every explicative in the book that Judge Shower, Judge Capici, and Zuckerman call me. We just turn around the mirror on the other side and we say, what type of person are you to go after an honest Scarsdale High School graduate, disability advocate who won the Community Service Award from the state Senate and helped countless veterans and others? What kind of person are you to be sitting here for the last 25 minutes criticizing me for being some sort of deviant, domestic terrorist, violent person, when all these domestic violence accusations are unfounded? And they were so absurd. They say I strangled my 4-year-old. Maryann, how do you strangle a 4-year-old a month after cubital tunnel syndrome? I couldn't squeeze the hand. It was in a sling. The
Mm-hmm.
hand couldn't hold the key. How do you squeeze? Did you look at those cameras? Those cameras, when I picked up my kids at the gym, showed my kids were being rough with each other, leaving the gym. One threw apple juice at the other. No, Mark abused them. How? Really? How? You say I'm slow. You guys complain. It takes an extra 10 minutes. Mark gets to the courtroom. Oh, but you think I strangled the kids? I ran after them in the gym. Really? Oh, maybe I had a power pack on. And my son Aiden, when he was talking to me and I was allowed to see him, he called me Iron Man. He says, Daddy, you're double Iron Man. You've got 2 batteries in your chest. Robert Downey Jr. has 1. So at least, he said, my dad's a hero. I don't know why I keep picking on my dad. Oh, you know why they do. Because I show the judges exactly what they are and they do by writing short briefs to the point and showing them the mirror. All I'm going to do is show the transcript you made me order that you can give me as an accommodation for my brain injury and show what you said. Look at how you say these things. I'll never forget, there's a Trump angle here. And this was 2016, man, and you'll love it. One of these ridiculous, absurd psychological evaluators said I had narcissistic personality disorder. First of all, I'm a Bronx real estate person. Okay, we're leaders. We are sued every day. We're tough. Okay, but my therapist is the same therapist I've had for, at that time, 10 years. And she said, you don't qualify for the disorder. You need 5 of the 8 qualities of DSM. You're very charitable. You give away 3,000 turkeys every Thanksgiving. You help the disabled. You help people with accommodations. You help the community society. Okay, you're nice. You're polite. Okay, you're not narcissistic. Okay, but the doctor says you may have this. Okay. So then we go to Judge Shower. Judge Shower, why do I have a supervisor? I asked you for a disability aid. I said, a supervisor is not a disability aid. Disability aid helps me, helps my disabled son. I said, anyone who takes out 4 young kids, yes, I had 4 young kids at the time, okay, and now they're teenagers, okay, would bring an aid, a helper, even if I'm not disabled. No, you can't have, because if you can't have one, it means you cannot parent on your own. Excuse me? And I said, Judge, I don't understand. And she says, Mr. Fishman, I'm tired of explaining. You don't understand. Well, please indulge me. I said, we have this guy. His name is Steve Jobs. I said, he's one of the biggest innovators, great success. Apple gave us the iPad, gave us so much technology innovation. But a lot of his kids said that he was, not the perfect father. I said, no one took away his custody visitation. I said, hey, Judge Shower, what about Martin Luther King? He's a great leader. Civil rights movement, gave us civil rights, helped change the country. I said, a lot of people said he's narcissistic. No one took away his kids. Great leader. And I said, Judge, how about Donald Trump? And she says, what about Donald Trump? I said, Judge, did you see the debate with Hillary Clinton and Matt Lauer? She says, yeah. I said, Hillary Clinton, who has absolutely nothing nice to say about Donald Trump ever, anywhere in any part of the world, said that he's a good father, his kids love him, and it's evidence his kids love and adore him. And I said, no one took away Donald Trump's kids from him, but you're taking away mine. And she said on the transcript, I quote, you're damn right. If Donald Trump was in this courtroom, I'd take away his kids, just like I'm taking away yours. You will never see your kids unsupervised ever again. And guess what, Maryann? She's right. I have not. And I have not seen my kids since December 19 because these judge conspire. These judge commit, as you say, RICO violations. They discriminate in unison and they label you. And when you challenge them by having them sued in federal court, the cases don't get dismissed because you write them in such a way that even a federal judge has to look in the mirror and say, what the hell is this? This one's just telling me what they said. It's exactly an ADA violation. He doesn't have to say anything. What can you say?
Well, I think Judge Shower needs a psychological evaluation and maybe a random drug test.
Yep. And a lot more.
Yeah, a lie detector test as well. Because I can't remember if New York, if your judges are elected. They're elected, aren't they, in New York?
10-year term, she's elected. Yep.
Right. So we need to know what the campaign donations were. So she should have a lie detector test as well.
You said it. And she made me go for drug tests. She says, you know what? I don't believe your electric stimulation thing here. You're over here in front of me. Your eyes are bloodshot. I said, yeah, it's a symptom of simple neuralgia. She said, I think you're drunk. I think you took drugs. I said, Your Honor, you have how many medical reports saying I have a very sensitive liver and an aversion? I had an occipital neuralgia attack. My eyes are bloodshot, and my head is drooping, and my stimulator is trying to deal with it. And you hollering and yelling doesn't help. Okay. You know, and she says, you know what? I'm tired of this. Go for a drug test now. What? So Yanka's family court, Maryann, they did drug testing. I said, okay, what about Jennifer Solomon, my ex-wife? Let her go for a drug test. No, she don't need one. I said, you're discriminating. You're saying that she's not disabled, she don't have to go, but I got to go for one? And she says, well, we can't continue this proceeding because we think you are drunk and we think you are impaired by drugs. I said, I'm neither. Well, she says, go prove it. And she said, see these three men? They're going to watch you urinate. I said, you're violating my rights. I said, what about the right to privacy? You got no rights, Fishman. You're in Yankees court. But you'll have the right to remain silent real soon because I'm going to lock you up. Yeah, they humiliate you. Watch you go pee. You guys excited? Well, nothing to excited about, you know. Oh, shower announced it 2 hours later. Wow, Maryann, the drug and alcohol tests are negative. Really?
I'm surprised
Really?
she didn't want to watch you do the drug screen test. How come she didn't? She's
What
ordering
about
it.
HIPAA privacy, Maryann?
That
Did she just
too.
announce this to the whole courtroom? Now, by the way, her courtroom's closed, so even though it says courtroom open to everyone, shower never lets anybody in. So, you know, hey.
Well, that's also deceitful. Should be
Yep.
open to the public. And this is why I always say family court should just be abolished anyway, because you've got these lousy players who do need the random drug screens and the lie detector tests and the psych evals. Just get
Maryann,
rid of family
it's
court.
the biggest mafia. But as I said, they made me order 50,000 worth of transcripts. I sued the court system in front of Karas. The case was dismissed 2.5 hours. 2.5 years later, I appealed to the Second Circuit. They ordered the accommodation, but they denied me reimbursement for the transcripts. But I have all these transcripts. I have them. They're certified. Oh, you know, and then so Judge Shower would then go and say, we don't like your transcriber, Alan Kachowski. Oh, why? Because he just won a lawsuit about Bruin and the guns. He was one of the plaintiffs in there. You don't like him? Oh, yeah. Where do you get him suspended? She got him suspended. She said that it was his failure to transcribe why they were so inaudibles, and they were wrong. So Judge Shower would hold hearings to edit my transcripts. But I wouldn't be able to attend with my advocate. Why not? If you're going to edit, shouldn't I be there? No. So, you know, there is no fear. They record the courtrooms, get the cameras. You know, they don't want to give you that. This is how they play games. And here's the worst thing in Judge Shower's case. I appealed to her, I don't know, so many times. Judge Shower did 8 years at the appellate division in Brooklyn. You're never going to win an appeal in Brooklyn. I never have, Maryann. I've won appeals in Manhattan. As I said, I'm in real estate. I got a lot of property, casualty, lawsuits and stuff like that. I've won in Staten Island. I've won in Manhattan and the Bronx. I've won in Westchester Civil Court. I've never won family or divorce court in Westchester. And I will, because Judge Shower worked there for 8 years. She knows everybody. Okay? But, you know, what goes around comes around, Maryann. And in January of, I think it was 23, I think we're talking about the date, or 24, I think 23, we had the nomination of Hector LaSalle, the chief judge of the Brooklyn court, to be the chief judge of New York State. And to do that, you got to get be one of the 8 nominees to the final commission. And then the judge picks one of the 8. She picked him. And a lot of us were outraged. Judge LaSalle, on several of my appeals, denied me an AD advocate for my disabled son, Jonah. I didn't ask him to pay for it. I said AD advocate. Disability Rights New York offered to provide one for free. We could have gotten different ones. And he denied me real-time transcription before the federal court ordered it. He did it in a 2-paragraph order with 4 of the judges. Okay? So, you know, like you, my, weapon is my pen and my shield is my mirror. I reached out to some of the unions who were opposing LaSalle. I reached out to Peter Martin at Community Alternatives with a lot of my advocates. I called up 60 senators and said, you can't allow this disability discriminating, civil rights violating Hector LaSalle be chief judge. I said, he don't even explain why he denies ADA accommodations. He is a disability bigot. And I said, here is my order. It's only 2 paragraphs. He didn't even describe why he denied real-time transcription or a advocate. And guess what? I was thanked by Senator Hoyman himself at the judiciary hearing, who said to LaSalle, Chief Judge LaSalle, I am going to give you what you did not give several of my constituents, three of them in particular. Okay, I'm going to give you a forum to explain yourself and say why you should be the chief judge. And it's going to be a fair forum, not like you denied these accommodations and civil rights to our constituents. And let me say this, sir, this is not going to be a lynching, but it is not going to be your bar mitzvah. From Jewish, gay, popular Senator Hoyman, okay, who basically inferred he didn't have his vote, but he's going to give LaSalle ample freedom over the next 2 hours, on TV to defend why he should be the chief judge. And senator after senator, Republican, Democrat, basically ripped him apart, saying you don't exemplify the values of the Senate. Mm-hmm. And you deny his accommodation, you don't even say why. Under Title II of the ADA, we have what's called the interactive process, Maryann. That means that if you deny the accommodation, you then have to have a meeting with the disabled party to explain why you're denying the accommodation and give them the opportunity to advocate for it or to advocate for alternatives. These judges rarely did that. They don't want to do that. Then we have a record. Oh, what they do. Each one of those judges who gave me a record, gave me the interactive process, recused later on because, you got a record that you discriminated. You denied the accommodation. Now, why are you denying note taker? Oh, you don't want me to have a witness to help me with the notes so I can understand them. Oh, why you deny real-time transcription? Oh, you don't want me to understand the orders. You want me to fail. Why don't you say that? What are you wasting time here for? You just went to federal court years ago. I would have never went to federal court. Judge Shower put me in jail, Maryann. She caused this. She caused my worst nightmare, my greatest successes.
How many times did she jail you?
She just jailed me once.
Okay.
For 3 weeks. But in her final order, and I should say her final order, I had to sue in front of Judge Karras to get a final order. She had concluded our trial in September, Maryann, of 17, but had not issued an order. And so I sued in front of Judge Karras, saying I'm being retaliated against. She won't give me an order I can appeal. You can't appeal. You don't have a final order. So we finally got the order in June of 18 after Judge Karras said, I'm going to sign Mr. Fishman's injunctive relief for the note taker unless you give him an order. When's he getting an order? And OCA, Lisa Evans, you might know her name, was over there saying, well, he'll get an order in like 30, 60 days. And Judge Karras said, no, unacceptable. Try again. He'll get an order in a month. No. Okay. Mr. Fishman, this is Maryann. Maryann, this is Mr. Fishman. Mr. Fishman, if you don't get an order by the end of next week, you call Maryann. Lisa, let me tell you something, Miss Owens. Let me tell you something. I don't want to sign this injunctive relief, but you are inviting me to. Mr. Fishman gets an order by next Friday, he can appeal. And if he doesn't, guess what? This is a pen and this is an order. You both have Maryann's number, Mr. Fishman, can I help you in any other way? Yeah, Your Honor. Can I have another month to amend it? I'm having, tumors removed from my colon, and I'm having some rectal bleeding here. I'm embarrassed to tell the court, but I need more time. Can I have 60 days instead of 30? He says, I don't see a problem with that, Mr. Fishman. Miss Owens, Miss Lisa Evans, do you see a problem with that? And she says, well, do we have medical documentation? And he goes, excuse me? Mr. Fishman, granted, you have 60 days. Thank you. Yeah. Do we have medical documentation? Yeah, you're going to piss off the judge? You want more medical documentation? If you go on my federal lawsuits on PACER, you got so much medical documentation, I'll never be able to get life insurance anywhere from anything, anywhere. I'm rated D-.
Oh. Yeah, they are ruthless, very ruthless. I had to have over here in Pennsylvania, I guess we call it physician verification forms. So if you have, whatever my problem was, migraines, anxiety, whatever, depression, whatever, I had physician verification forms. Oh yeah, I have, depressed discs in my back from being a nurse, things like that. And my attorney did not file those on time for a de novo hearing. So I wish I would have known about ADA advocates because she torpedoed my case.
Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear.
It's happening to a lot of people, and I just want people to know that you really cannot trust your attorney to file things on time. I don't know if you ran into that as well.
So attorneys on the assigned panel are not appointed for ADA matters in New York, certainly not in family court. So the procedure is the disabled party asks the accommodations directly to the judge. One of the reasons why they hate you. In my case, Judge Shower said, that she had 38 accommodation requests in 1 year for me. Well, I had 8 surgeries in that year. Had a hernia because she denied my aid at supervised visitation. So, I was trying to wrestle with 3 of my sons to hold them all together when they were being wild, and I pulled the hernia. You don't have me alone after having neurosurgery because your body's weaker. We have what's called neurofatigue. She wanted me to get the hernia. You're responsible for the hernia. No, but you have me, you have 2 hyper kids, you know, and they're all excited. They love to see me. They all want my attention, and it's like, your aide can stay outside. My aide can stay outside. Really? It's ridiculous, so like you're saying, they created such a paper trail, and they created by having, forcing me to pay for, transcripts, which back then were not capped. Now they're capped at a price per fee. Before, you picked out a list of someone who did transcripts, and whatever his fee was or her fee was, you paid it. A lot of transcripts, even for an hour, were $1,000. So, after having all these transcripts, Maryann, I have records, even with all the inaudibles, of what they said to me, what they did, certified. This is the best thing you could have done to me. Yeah, I lost $50,000. You made me pay high paid interest to try and live off credit card interest and nonsense. But guess what? I got a record of what you said. So then, if you don't like the fact you have a record, then you fire the transcriber. That's retaliation. He could sue for associational disability discrimination. Or the better one, Maryann, we were talking about the supervisor, I had Ann Elliott, who's told the cops I did not commit a crime and should not be arrested. What did they do to her? She's banished out of Westchester. She can no longer do supervision out of Westchester. Why? Because she told the truth. And then, of course, the cops kept on saying, we don't know if she's the supervisor. On the arrest report, they said, for an order of protection violation, was a supervisor present? Officer Schlesinger and Detective Wensler was a supervisor present. Let's see, Maryann. I think my 5-year-old niece can say that. Is the woman here or not? Yes or no? They write unknown. Unknown? Unknown? Oh, gee whiz. Unknown? You're a cop for 17 years? Unknown? Really? But on the video camera that you didn't give me for 4 years and 10 months till I got it out of federal court from you, you'd identify my supervisor as court appointed 4 times. Okay. Then where it says, is video or audio present? They leave it blank. Blank? Blank? There's separate cameras in the ceiling. I told him, a real estate guy, I've installed lots of camera systems for buildings and properties and clients. Of course there were cameras. I saw them. Okay, of course they did audio. No, it wasn't on. It didn't activate. Really? I said, that's better than the dog eating the homework flushed down the toilet. Oh, well, we got those. We didn't have them at trial. Weren't showed the jury. On it, my ex-wife says, I didn't go on a property 4 times to Officer Schlesinger on the radio call. Did he go on your property? No. Did he speak with you? No. Did he threaten you? No. Did he send you an email text? No. Who spoke with you? His supervisor, Ann Elliott. Oh, the supervisor you had to consent to. And what about his aide? That's not his aide. That's his girlfriend. Huh? Did you read the 28-page order? My ex-wife, the chief judge, the family court judge, the children's attorney, my attorney, the attorney for my ex-wife all had to consent to the aide because Judge Shower issued an order for an aide to help me with visits and to drive. But she's not an aide. Oh, so we don't have to accommodate you. This is what I do, Maryann. Wait a second. So now, okay, so why am I allowed to bring a third party to visits when no third parties are allowed unless she's an aide? Oh, according to New Rochelle, their civil rights attorneys at $7.50 an hour, that Judge Shower in her order said Mr. Fishman's not disabled. He has no major bodily impairment. So she doesn't have to give an aid, but she's going to give an aid anyway, as long as everyone consents to it to help Mr. Fishman with his disabilities. Now, Maryann, okay, as far as I know, 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 never equals 7. That's an order for an aid. You're going to tell Judge Rahman in your little motion papers that because Judge Shower said I'm not disabled, that I'm not disabled? Judge Rahman and Judge Karras said I'm disabled in 17 major bodily impairments. Okay, my nerves are injured, peripheral neuropathy. Okay, they're impaired. They're managed with electric stimulation. My jaw is impaired with TMJ. I can't take a bite out of a hamburger. Got to chop it up. I can't sleep. I have a hypoglossal stimulator. My sleep is impaired. Without it, I'd be dead. I can't be on a CPAP. Should we go on? Tinnitus, hearing impairment. Tubal tunnel, can't write. But Mark's not disabled because Mark looks fine.
That's
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, exactly, exactly.
And that's where, again, you notice that Judge Shower. I showed you my little neurostimulator here, right? That adjusts my levels of electric stimulation. It's adaptive restorative, which means it's on automatic. It goes up and down depending on how aggravated my nerves are. So
Hmm.
Judge Shower said to me at another court hearing, and again, I have the certified transcript, so I read these things and I can't sleep at night. Okay,
Hmm.
Mr. Fishman, this court is insulted that you accuse this court of disability discrimination. As you sit here today in front of me, you have no apparent disability. Really, Your Honor? Go to my medical bag. She says, why are you opening up your briefcase? I said, no, Your Honor, that's my medical bag. It holds my stimulator and my recharger. It holds my interpretation of closed captioning on my phone. It holds my charger for my hypoglossal. What is that you're taking out? Well, that is my stimulator, neurostimulator for electric. It looked like a Walkman, a tape recorder. I told you can't bring any tape recorders here. I said, no, Your Honor, it says Medtronic on the back of it, Your Honor. You know,
Yeah.
Medtronic, they don't do tape recorders.
No.
She says, in this courtroom, that's a tape recorder. You want to go to jail? You know, yeah. You know, what else are you taking out? Oh, is that headphones? Is that
Oh,
headphones for your Walkman or your phone, which you're not allowed to have in your court? You're supposed to conversate? No, Your Honor. Okay, those are the wires to my lead that connects to my stimulator. You know, Mr. Fishman, all I have is endless requests of ridiculous, absurd requests for what you call accommodations. All of
mhm.
this is baseless. You're not disabled, you fake it. Okay. And if you continue to bring your Walkman and your tape recorder and your headphones in the courtroom, you're going back to jail. In which I go like this again, right? Huh? Yeah. Now, why was I in front of Judge Shower? Yeah, makes you wonder.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
have an answer for that. I'll give it to you. It's a funny story. Okay. Judge
okay.
Shower was getting divorced while she was in family court. She was getting divorced to a real estate attorney, a guy I know, not too well. Okay. And the divorce was under his name. Okay. And Judge Shower was losing in divorce court because he was getting what everyone's supposed to get, a 50-50 fair divorce.
Oh,
So a couple of attorneys said to me, Mark, it's no coincidence. You are so much like her soon to be ex husband. Okay. She is punishing you
all right.
because you are like him. And I said, what? You know, and he at the time was the asking attorney, okay, for the town. And, you know, his name is Wayne Spector, Spector. He's a corporate attorney. And I spoke to him a couple times, some, you know, Bronx board parties and stuff. Don't know him, but all I know is, you know, real estate guys, we're in the same world, you know, and no one gets sued more than people, real estate owners, real estate brokers, investors. We get sued every day. You
Mhm.
break a hip, you trip, whatever, you know. So my point is, I have the disability discrimination judge from hell because she's going through a divorce and she can't punish him, so she's punishing me.
Hence the psych eval.
Hey, which she never ordered one for my ex, but I had to do 19.
You had to do 19 of them?
19. And she said she was throwing me in jail for not doing the 20th because I told her I didn't have another 25,000 to spend on another evaluation. Because she said the other ones were useless. The head of the Columbia Neuropsych, where they have the football studies on concussions funded by the NFL,
Mhm.
is useless. He told you I need a note taker. He told you I can't be in court all day. Some of the accommodations, Maryann, is that let's break courts up to only morning only. No, Mr. Fisher will sit there. Well, he'll fall asleep. You know that his sleep apnea is not managed well. He will fall asleep. You're forcing him to come to court. I don't care. So the AG advocate had to request that I be able to walk around the courtroom, Maryann, when Judge
Mhm.
Shower had a full week trial and 1, 2 o'clock, I was like a zombie ready to just collapse and faint.
Mhm.
You can walk around the courtroom. So can I pay attention to the court? You know, your accommodation, you can walk around the courtroom. How about a jury morning only? No, Mr. Fishman. Everyone else is available. You're not. Oh, my ex-wife's not available. Oh, we excused her. Oh, so you're basically telling me, Judge, that she's going to win the case. You just excused her. Yeah, she's going to lose her job. That's discrimination. My right to confront witnesses. You have no rights to this Fishman. You want to go back to jail?
Do parents file complaints on her? Judicial complaints?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There have been numerous complaints to the Commission on Judicial Conduct, numerous complaints to Nancy Barry, who was the division head, numerous complaints to Judge Schenkman. And Judge Shower did her share to piss them off too. So what I found out, a little Judge Shower history lesson here, because you know, Maryann, you and I are very diligent. We have to be our own investigators. So Judge Shower didn't like being in the old Yonkers courtroom. The old Yonkers courtroom was in a pre-war building that had mold, asbestos, lead paint, like a lot of old buildings have.
Right.
So after OCA told Judge Shower that the courtroom was safe, Judge Shower said, screw you to OCA, and ordered her own mold test, asbestos test, lead test, sent it to the local paper, and sent it to Judge Shankman, the administrative judge, and said, move me. And he did. And then the African-American judge, Judge Malone, who was there longer than Judge Shower, says, wait a second, you moved a white, divorcing, Jewish, disability discriminating judge, but you don't remove me, the fair, black, civil rights, fair judge. You let me stand here? Oh, we're going to move you too. Okay. Now, Judge Shankman, why didn't you fire her then? Oh, because she threatened to sue you, or she threatened to talk about the fact that, you collude with the court, that, your wife, Faith Miller, appears before all these divorce judges and represents a lot of people. And, she always wins the cases. Well, how does that happen? Oh, she's your wife. Okay. Dude, why don't you tell us in the beginning? You could have saved us a bunch of years. Let's go right to federal court. Judge Shankman was afraid of Judge Shower. Afraid of her.
Well, he's a wimp.
Hey.
Well, I guess he needs a psych eval too.
Listen, they unite together, and when they hate you, they hate you. And thankfully, our federal judges have life terms because most of them want to be fair. And Democrat, Republican, Independent, they let you say a case. And if you go by the law, don't waste their time and focus, which is something I really had to learn to do, Maryann, with a lot of rehab, a lot of memory rehab, a lot of speech rehab. They will help the disabled. 33% of the federal docket last year is ADA cases. 33%. New York is number 4 state. It goes Texas, California, Florida, New York. So they're seeing more of these, and they can't ignore them, and the courts can't get away with, quote unquote, sovereign immunity, qualified immunity, judicial immunity. Immunity was not meant to be abused like this.
Well, I think they should add Pennsylvania to the list after what I went through with my federal case and the collusion that took place in there, where the federal judge actually admitted on a telephonic phone conference that he did not look at my exhibits. So the next day, I had to file a motion for him to read the exhibits. And then 2 days later, I get an order that he wants to dismiss the case. So I took it to the appellate level where it rotted for about 4 months. But I actually had this case going for about a year, over a year. So I must have been doing something right. They knew this case had merit, but with the collusion, because the attorneys that were representing CPS, that attorney told me that he is going to get this case dismissed. And that's pretty much how it's going to go. That's what he told me when I dropped off exhibits. So that's why I just wonder about these federal, judges. I just wonder about them.
But Maryann, you have to view that as a success. The first step in filing a federal lawsuit, when you write them, after you've been told no, like you and I have for over 10 years, is you write the lawsuit so as not to get dismissed. Don't put judges' names on it. Put the administrator of the court. Put the court system. Put the governor. Sue him in administrative capacity. Use as much of the transcripts that implicate the discrimination without your own words. Use the best ones attached to certification. Mr. Fishman remembers when he wants to. Neuropsych evaluation, his memory is 4% of 44-year-olds. He will not remember without a note taker. He will not remember for 3 words if you ask him to repeat it a half hour from now. Okay? Simple. But I want to tell you, I want to compliment you, and I want to tell you, you won. So because of your case and several other in Pennsylvania, some of the people at the US DOJ sued Pennsylvania and got a consent order. They sued Pennsylvania 2 years ago, for disability discrimination against opioid users. Opioid users in Pennsylvania prisons were being ordered to get off opioid medication, anti-opioid medication. Let me try and be clear. They were medicated to get off their opioid addiction, and the state family court judges and divorce judges and criminal judges in Pennsylvania did a policy in one of the counties, blanket policy, saying everyone's to stop using this medication that gets you off opioid addiction because these people got to stand trial in court. What? So I want to tell you, US DOJ did what they haven't done in New York. They need to. They've done it in Rhode Island. They did in Massachusetts. They sued the Pennsylvania court system. And their original case got dismissed. But then they sued a second time, and worded their case around Rooker-Feldman immunity, O'Shea, okay, and basically said, we're suing the courts in their administrative capacity for doing a blanket discrimination order. These people, if they go off the medication to keep them from addiction, will die. They'll have a seizure, they'll have a relapse. You can't do a blanket thing. There was a stipulation with what we need in New York. Federal monitor over Pennsylvania courts. Victory! Yes, a federal monitor with 800 number to call for any future victims of discrimination by the Pennsylvania court system. The Pennsylvania court system. You got a 5-year monitor agreement. Unbeknownst to me, Maryann, when I was jailed in Westchester County Jail, in the jail hospital in I Block, they were under a 5-year monitoring agreement. Now I know why there were like 300 cameras. There were 4 cameras on me. Oh, but they made sure that I was, still subject to fear. I was in a 4-person hospital room, and I was with Castro, related to the press lady on Channel 11. And Castro did murder, and he had punched the DA's kid in the jaw. So Castro would tell me and the other 3 people 16 times a day he was going to kill us. Okay, then I was with the homeless guy who got arrested for accepting $1. Then I was with a musician who threw a brick at his girlfriend's rental apartment when she wasn't home, because she stole $20,000 on his mom's credit card when shopping at Neiman Marcus, and then sat there like an idiot saying, what am I doing with my life? He got thing too. And then there was Mark. Mark's order off Amazon. My mom sent some gifts, so did my aunt. Mark don't go to Claire's, Amazon, or Neiman Marcus. They asked my driver that. My driver testified I don't drive him to Claire's. He does not go to Claire's. He doesn't buy the hair thing. Neiman Marcus? No, Mark doesn't do Neiman Marcus. Okay. It don't matter. Judge Shower says I sent the gifts. And you know what else Judge Shower said? Judge Shower, I'm looking at this order, handwritten. I asked them to be typed to do this handwritten. Well, Mr. Fishman, you can type them. I said, no, I can't type them. You won't allow my Dragon in here software to transcribe. You won't turn on closed caption. You won't allow my note taker. And the attorney I have has Parkinson's, you gave me. I said, so he can't take notes. I said, so you can take your own notes, Fishman. She says, but the order of protection you're talking about, okay, it said you are not to send gifts except major holidays. I said, yeah, Your Honor, I had three attorneys interpret this. And they told me that the federal holidays have these 12 holidays, Memorial Day, July 4th, Easter. And I sent gifts on these holidays. She said, those attorneys are morons. Okay, and those attorneys gave you bad advice. I told you 6 months ago, there were no holidays between March and July. Yeah, and my Eddie Av can stand up. You think he remembers? You don't even have a transcript. You think he remembers what you told him during a 9-hour hearing, whereas ex-wife didn't have to say is you told him that he shouldn't send any gifts, but your order that he got, okay, says you can send gifts on major holidays. And then she takes the microphone away. She goes off the record, and she sticks her finger up. Maryann, she goes like this. She said, Mr. Fishman, maybe in your FFF, explicative FFF type of family, Easter, Memorial Day, July 4th, and birthdays are major holidays. But in the normal world, they're not. And you're going to jail for 3 weeks.
Yeah, she should be off the bench. Like yesterday.
After I got her off the case with Judge Karras and got her order the day after I appealed, and I filed in family court to get 50-50 back that I'd had. And then the next 6 judges in family court, Westchester, Maryann, all recused. And guess what? I did not meet any of the 6. Including the one you were talking about, Ms. Petri. I never met her. And so we have a code in New York. It's called Judicial Codes of Conduct 100.1 to 100.9. If you know of disability discrimination and you are another judge and you don't do anything about it, it's as if you are guilty of the disability discrimination just as the judge performing it. So Mark becomes toxic. You don't want my case because judge discriminated against me. Number one, normal people without a hearing impairment, Maryann, they don't have 28-page double-sided visitation orders. I couldn't read a page and a half. I got a headache. This is the games they play. This is the nonsense. And so, you know what? They've gotten so greedy, so egregious, and so nasty and stuff that they don't like the fact that those of us now have pierced qualified immunity and state immunity and city immunity. Okay, the cops and the city of New Rochelle had no immunity for discriminating and denying my aid. They knew it was my aid. They had no immunity for falsely filling out the arrest report. They had no immunity for withholding the exonerating cameras and audio. They have no immunity for not allowing my aide to come in and blocking her. They have no immunity when I'm over there trying to read the order. So they said, why don't you read the order? And I have an occipital neuralgia attack. My head claps like this. I'm in pain. And I say, I need my aide to read this order to you. I can't. And he goes out to go talk to his boss. You know, this is discrimination. Why don't you just say, you're never going to win, Fishman, you know, and you're just going to lose. So we could have gone to federal court years ago. And again, federal court, Maryann, we have no privacy. You can read all about the reports on my tuchus, on my left lung, on the spots. You can read about the electric going through my head. You can read about the 7 incisions. You can read about batteries. You can read about hospitalization for chest pain. I have no privacy. But guess what? When they throw you in jail, okay, because you're doing the right thing, want to be in your kid's life, you send them a gift, okay, they take away your rights, okay, and they humiliate you in jail, throw you in with a murderer, and they give you full cavity searches like 3 times a day, okay, guess what? You just created someone who has absolutely nothing to lose. You guys took away everything, or at least you thought you did. You didn't take away my mind, and I got a mirror, and I got a pen, or I'll borrow someone else's mirror and pen, and now we're going to talk about what you did to me, and why would you do this to another human being? What did I do to you?
I'm so sorry that happened to you because I've been in jail as well, but not to that extent that they were doing to you. Um, but I was in there for 5 days, but they committed a human rights violation by not giving me my prescribed medications that I needed. And you cannot cut off someone's benzodiazepines because it's life-threatening. Now, my physician wrote this in a physician verification form to that child support judge, telling her this months prior. She doesn't care. It was like a vendetta. Even my counselor, who I was talking to, she said, "This is not normal behavior for a judge. It's like a vendetta. She has something out. She's out to get you." Yeah, it was just really weird. But I had to call my 79-year-old father and say, "Can you get me out of here?" The judge wants $2,000. Then they come up with this magical figure, right? So my 79-year-old father went and paid with a bank check to get me out of there, or I swear we were sleeping on horse blankets. We had a pillow, but it was built into the horse blanket. So it's like you're sleeping on concrete, like padded concrete. Really weird. Never seen anything like it. Yeah, it was just really weird. All I can tell you is I was in general population and they kept the murderers away from the general population. So I was with everybody who was doing meth and heroin and these were very nice women I was in with. They were very spiritual, nice women. And when I get out, I got to see my kids that weekend, and they knew I was in there. And they said, "Well, we didn't know you were going to be in that area, like the general population area, because Dad told us you were going to be in a prison like Martha Stewart was in."
Bedford
Like,
Hills? Yeah. The country club? The country club in Westchester?
I'm not rich. It's like, really? Unbelievable. That's what he told him.
Maryann, I'm so sorry you went through it, but again, because you went through that experience, the DOJ sued the Pennsylvania court system. So I got to say, God bless you, and thank you for your advocacy, because they'll never sue New York until Trump gets rid of the head of the Civil Rights Disability Unit. You know why, Maryann? Because 5 of the 6 top people in US DOJ Civil Rights Disability section are from New York. New York gets a pass. Oh, Maryann, listen, we don't have 51 states. Oh, yeah, New York. No, we'll never investigate New York. Really? Mr. Fishman, sue yourself. 8 times. Sue yourself. Sue yourself. Well, guess what? I would actually say to people, you know what? It's better to sue on ADA stuff yourself, pro se, because the federal Second Circuit, technically New York, has to give you every inference and every interpretation that they get from your impaired papers, because you're not a lawyer, okay, and interpret it in your favor. when you are disabled and pro se. So in many cases, if you are fighting, as you and I know, the Hercules of immunity, judicial immunity, where you can do whatever we want, the judge can go in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot someone, not go to jail. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you need all the help you can get. So, I got NILAG to help me with my papers, New York Legal Area Group. I went to Disability Rights New York and got medical addendums and reports. And over the years, they had backed me up and asked these accommodations to the court. So it wasn't just that I was denied or my advocate was denied. Disability Rights New York was denied. They wouldn't even write back to Disability Rights New York sometimes. And so, because we had the exhibits, and then of course with some of these transcripts, in my motions, I would put down the case law as to why the judge shouldn't dismiss the case, even if it wasn't a dismissal hearing. Judge, you can't dismiss the case. It's a prima facie discrimination. They acknowledged I'm disabled. Okay. They denied the accommodation. It doesn't need to be intentional. They retaliated. They punished me. And you see that's what the most amazing thing is. So the appellate division, where I said, we talked about Heck LaSalle not winning elevation. We got the elevation of a much better judge the second time around. His name will come to me, Maryann. I gotta research that. Judge Wilson. Yes, Judge Wilson is pro ADA. Judge Wilson ruled that even disgraceful woman rapist Harvey Weinstein was entitled to a fair trial. Harvey Weinstein got a fair trial, but Maryann and I can't. We didn't rape anybody. I mean, it's ridiculous. But you know what? I respect the fact that the liberal judges went along with Judge Wilson. He's entitled to a fair trial. Yeah, like you cannot give evidence of crimes he wasn't charged for 30 years ago. We have a constitution. What is with this gang thing? Like, oh, we hate somebody, so let's just take away all his rights. Why don't we just be Angola or Cuba or Russia if that's the case? What are we doing? We got no constitution when it comes to family court, right?
Nope, not at all. Now, let me ask you this. What do you do? And I'm sure other people have been in this position when an opposing attorney makes fun of you as a pro se of your disability.
Maryann, once you're in jail, as you're aware, you become very thick-skinned. I couldn't sleep in jail. So remarks and comments and negative tone, or even people yelling, or even people, arguing a certain way, I listen. Okay. I try to do some of my meditation or breathing exercises, or I raise my stimulator level. I just turn my head and I get more stimulation coming out of back. And then, after the tirade of I guess we call him the antagonist arguing, you finished? Because I want to make sure you finished. I don't want to be impolite and unprofessional. Yeah, I'm finished, Mr. Fishman. What do you have to say? Why do you hate disabled people? What did I do to you? I don't recall raping your daughter. I don't recall stealing your wallet. I don't think I even been to your house. I don't even think I knew you before this case. Now, why do you hate disabled people? What did I do to you? I said, you think that being disabled is fun? Ever since I got rammed by a speeding van in front of Ward School, a speeding van on a descending hill that rammed my sedan, okay, where my daughter fell underneath the seatbelt to the floor, and my kids, my 4-year-old twin son's car seat broke in half, okay, I have lost in family court. But I've asked for accommodations before I lost, and they were all denied, okay? So you made it seem that I can't win. Last I checked, the family court is the stake. Last I checked, I'm a disabled person. Stop fighting disabled people. Biden has a cognitive impairment. I didn't see anyone take away his grandkids. Hey, you're Senator Fetterman. You're Senator Fetterman. He can't even wear a suit and tie in the Senate. He wears a hoodie. And there's some brain damage there. He gets closed caption, Maryann. On his Senate desk, he gets a TV screen. He gets an interpreter. He gets a little handheld thing, okay? And you know what? He's actually the only Democratic senator who said, let's stop the witch hunt against Trump. This whole thing in New York was just a political witch hunt. Why don't the Governor Hochul pardon him? This is from a guy who they said was one of the most progressive senators who wears a hoodie and shorts and says, I'm pro-Israel, and let's get back to business and let's help the worker, right? So you know what happens? The Democrats isolate themselves from him because he's speaking the truth. Oh,
God forbid.
Frankly, I don't know about you. If the senators want to wear beach shirts, or they want to wear torn jeans, or they want to wear shoes with holes in them, if they're going to uphold our civil rights, and manage well and get along with each other. I don't care if you paint your face green. Who cares? Freedom of speech, dress like you want.
Right, right.
So this is what they don't like, Maryann. So getting back to the federal lawsuit where I am now, they criminalize parenting. This whole thing with the cops, a cop had to call Judge Shower or Judge Capici and say, arrest Mark. They had to say, do it because, oh, Mark sues us in federal court. They had to do it because the order had not been granted, giving me the accommodation. How do you stop an order from a granting for communication accommodation? Throw him in jail. No, that doesn't do it for me. That just motivates me to come back and defend the Constitution more. Okay, so now we have a trial where the discovery, I asked for large print discovery, double spaced. Okay, denied. We get blurry discovery. We had over 38 orders of protections. How many do we get as part of the trial? 2. Where are the other ones? Your family court file is too large. We can't give it to you. Really? In New York, we had discovery from Mary, and it was January 1. Rule 245. The prosecution is required to give you any and all orders, any and all videos that they or the police have. And if the police have the videos, it's the same as if the prosecutor DA has them. But we had DA Scarpino. Let me tell you about DA Scarpino. He was a former judge. Okay? He lives in Bedford. Judge Zuckerman, my criminal county judge, he lives in Chappaqua. At recess, all I got to hear about was that Judge Zuckerman would go on joyrides with Judge Scarpino and the yellow Corvette. Well, I'm over there thinking I'm going to be exonerated because I didn't violate any order, didn't go on any property, and had a visitation order. No, the judges conspire together to tell the jury what they want and what they don't want, and they don't get to see the exonerating evidence. Oh, there's cameras exonerating Fishman? Poof, they're gone. Oh, there's audio? No, there's not. Oh, there's all the transcripts. Screw him, he don't get anything. So wait a second, you're going to trial with like literally 50 pages of discovery? Of course you didn't get a fair trial. The jury finds me guilty of attempted and actually violating order of protection after every prosecution witness acknowledged I didn't go on the ex-wife's property, including the ex-wife, and after everyone acknowledged that the order of protection that I was told verbally, again, never got one in writing, they were violating me for an oral one that I couldn't hear without my note taker when I was in leg irons and chains and walkie-talkies being delivered to the holding cell because Judge Shower didn't like the fact that my daughter ordered off Amazon, my mother sent gifts, and I sent a couple gifts. She didn't like that, okay? So the order of protection I was not served with had no distance to stay away from the property during supervised visitation. So, again, Judge Zuckerman says to the DA, please tell us, outside the jury, Mr. Fishman's attorney put a motion to dismiss, saying he didn't go on the property, okay? You charged him for going on the property. Please tell me how he could be guilty of going on the property if he go on the property. Okay, and the judge is prepared. It's like a whole Bible is written for him. And the prosecutor says, I see the court's dilemma. I understand. Okay, but it was Mr. Fishman's intent to see his kids at all purposes and all intents to see his kids no matter what. And the judge goes, that's family court. This is criminal court. Family court's in the next building, sir. Try it again. Tell me how Mr. Fishman can be guilty of violating the order of protection, okay, on his visitation day for not going on the property, okay, no communication with the ex. He's a couple houses down. Tell me how. And I don't hear you saying attempted. Why don't we consider attempted? My attorney stands up. Attempted what, Your Honor? We've closed our case. Attempted what? Mr. Fishman is 280 pounds, okay? His supervisor is a female. His ex-wife's a female. The aide is a female. If Mr. Fishman wanted to walk the 3-4 houses going to property, I don't think there was any way to stop him. Mr. Fishman stayed by the car and didn't walk by the property, didn't talk to his ex-wife, didn't send her an email, hasn't spoke to her since 2015. Okay, so guess what? He didn't attempt to, because if he attempted to, he would have succeeded. And the judge then reads case law, Maryann. Let's read 4 cases. Oh, if someone lives in the neighborhood and they walk across the street, they're not guilty. Oh, but if someone drives by, sometimes they're guilty, sometimes they're not. Oh, but if someone drives by and they drive close enough, then they're guilty. And my attorney says, well, Mr. Fisher wasn't driving. I understand he wasn't driving, but his girlfriend was driving. And my attorney says, you mean the disability aid? You know, or step back. And he says, you know, and so the judge says to the prosecutor, do you want to add attempted? The prosecutor says, yes, I want to add. Yeah, I want to add. I didn't think the judge was supposed to make the prosecutor's case. So then we say we object. The judge says, I'm going to think about it overnight, give you a ruling in the morning. Of course, the jury sees none of this. He comes back in. He says, I hear your objection. I'm adding it. and I'm going to add it in the consecutive. My attorney says you can't do that. So the consecutive is this, Maryann. Jury, find him guilty of attempted and actual, or don't find him guilty of anything. They find me guilty of attempted and actual, after not even being told what attempted was. So we file a motion, okay, later on, because Judge Zuckerman, after jury found me guilty, right, he doesn't sentence me. He says, come back tomorrow so we can fight over order of protection for your kids. I said, what order of protection, Your Honor? He says, well, the DA wants the order of protection for your kids. My attorney says, objection. He was only sued and prosecuted for violating the order of protection for the ex-wife. He didn't violate the order of protection for the kids because they had a visitation order. And the judge says he shouldn't have been in the city of New Rochelle. I hear several judges told him not to be in New Rochelle. And my attorney says, there's no order of protection that restricts the city. Half his doctors are there. The judge says, I don't care. If it's up to me, Mr. Fishman will never see his kids unsupervised again. And Maryann, I've never seen my kids since before that trial.
How rotten. I'm so sorry.
So it gets better. So now we have D.A. Rocha. D.A. Rocha takes over because Scarpino was evicted. He wasn't reelected. And D.A. Rocha promises reform. Actually sent out postcards and went to rallies for her and stuff. You know, she worked for Preet Bharara. She was known as being fair. Mm-hmm. And she responds to one of our 330s because, again, they didn't sentence me. The judge said he wanted a probation report. And then the probation report came. And then the judge said, I can't sentence him because now it's COVID. So you're just going to have orders of protection against contacting your kids and the ex. Okay. And then, okay, a year and a half later, he says, oh, we still have COVID. We're still going to do orders of protection. We're not sentencing him. D.A. Rocha says sentence him virtually. And Judge Zuckerman says, no, I want him in jail. Okay. So then we kept on filing our 330s to dismiss, motion to dismiss. And in it, we identified 31050, criminal procedure law 31050, my friend Maryann. You cannot be convicted of 2 counts for the same alleged false crime. Mm-hmm. Meaning, you can't be convicted of attempted actual. You have to dismiss both counts, retry, okay, dismiss. Those are your options. Retrial, dismissal, okay? You can't sentence him. Judge Zuckerman says this is the 6th time he's filed the motion. He can't file anything. Gatekeeping order. Gatekeeping order. Oh, just like Donald Trump, you can't defend yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. And he better be in 2 months to go to jail. Uh-huh. Yeah, I was in another car accident in December. I almost lost my foot. I was in rehab. Judge Zuckerman wouldn't extend accommodation for more than 2.5 years. And he said, I'm giving you a warrant. Maryann, fugitive Marc Fishman, who's now had 6 years order of protection for his kids who I wasn't convicted of a crime, and who the appellate division ruled 3 weeks after trial that all my orders of protection had an exemption carve out for supervised visitation. And what does it say? Mr. Fishman is to stay away from the house, the work, and the school of his 4 kids and his ex-wife, except, you know, Maryann, you and I still read, EXCEPT, except limited supervised visitation. Yeah, limited supervised visitation, 2 days a month, 2 Saturdays, of which mine was the 15th, because the previous one was the 1st. But in Westchester, if you sue the judges and you complain with civil rights and human rights and you're in federal court and you sue the cops, you are guilty. And you need to prove your innocence, and you will never do it in Westchester. So amen to federal court and Judge Rahman, who I pray will do it for me in a summary judgment win that the cops, the city, discriminated.
And you're expecting that around February 2025.
We're praying. Could happen any day.
Right.
He has already said I'm disabled. New Rochelle didn't oppose I was disabled for 4.5 years. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, we don't think he's disabled. We don't agree. Excuse me? You didn't put that in your papers for 4.5 years? He was pro se majority at the time. Well, you know, we didn't have to. What? He's got 14, he's got implants. He's got metal in his hip. He's got barriers. No, he ain't disabled. They don't affect major bodily impairment. No, they affect 14 of them. But you're not disabled because you sue judges. You sue the state of New York.
God forbid. God forbid you should stand up for yourself.
Right. And I want to, again, I'm an independent, but I want to say this out for the Trump case, for those people who don't aware. A lot of us seeing the Trump case got to relive the nightmare of family court cases. Maybe you did, Maryann. Because who is Judge Juan Merchant? Judge Juan Merchant is a 5-year family court judge. Oh. What is your punishment? Contempt, go to jail. What is your punishment? Gag order. You can't talk. What is your punishment? Gatekeeping order. You and your attorneys can't file anything. Maryann, this is a setup. Even the
Right.
president of the United States can't defend himself because he's got gag orders, gatekeeping orders, contempt orders. So why do we have a judiciary? Why do we have civil rights? You can't, Maryann, if I was able to file things, it wouldn't have taken Marc Fishman 4 years, 11 months to get the exonerating cameras and audio. You didn't want me to file anything because you knew I wouldn't get it. But you didn't factor in that a federal judge would say, you know what? Civil rights matter in our federal courthouse, and he's going to get the damn camera and audio. Okay? Which confirmed everything we said in writing all the years.
Right. Right. In fact, I asked one of my friends, I said during Trump's trial, I said, man, this reminds me of what I went through. And my friend said, yeah, this reminds me of watching what you went through in family court.
And Maryann,
Unbelievable.
here's my success story there. I never had the gag orders. Now you say, why'd you never have the gag orders? The first thing that they ask, okay, when you file with New York City Human Rights, New York Human Rights, Disability Rights, New York, the feds, is anyone threatening you for your freedom of speech? Is anyone threatening you that you can't talk about your human rights complaint? Is anyone threatening you from the government that says you can't talk about your case? Well, I had to answer no, because I didn't ever had a gag order. But Maryann, if I didn't have federal litigation and all these politicians writing for me and the awards for disability accommodation and the federal lawsuit and human rights calling the court and disability rights calling, you're damn right I would have had a gag order. And if I had a gag order, and I wouldn't have been able to put together all the evidence, talking about it to all these people and exposing them with my favorite shield, my mirror. My mirror. You guys can depict your discrimination against me much better than I possibly ever could. So let's just read that certified transcript of what you called me and how you think of me. And if I'm so bad, now why did the Senate give me the Community Service Award? Why did Kessler Foundation give me an award for helping disabled people? And why did Disability Rights New York recognize me as impacting change? Why did the Brain Injury Association of America thank me for advocating for those who have such bad dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, who can't do it themselves? You know what? God gave me a mouth, okay? And I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you know what? Go put me in jail. Come and get me on your 3 warrants. I'm a very boring person. I have a lot of medical attention. You are not going to like paying for my medical expenses. I was in holding for 13 hours because the judge didn't want to bring me to the hospital. He wanted me out, and Judge Shower demanded I go in. Okay? I didn't eat or drink for 13 hours. I was basically carried to the hospital room, and they had to call my aide to bring my remote controls and stuff because they knew I wasn't going to function the night without it. This is jail. This is punishment. This is Judge Shower. This is Judge Capici. Judge Capici, who took away the kids from Casanoff, or Judge Lubell, who says he's sorry that family court discriminates, but I got to stay in it. I can't go to the post-marital part, okay? Because if I do, and if I fall again without his permission, I go to jail and contempt. Judge Lubell, who just got admonished by the Commission of Conduct. What took you so many years? He's a disability bigot. You know, why do you hate disabled people? You know, Maryann, we're the only club that most people are guaranteed to join. We all become disabled and like babies as we grow up. As we get older, we're all disabled. So why do you hate us when you're going to be amongst us?
Right.
Why do you hate us so badly?
Good point. I'm so glad you came on the podcast. If anyone has any questions, how can they reach you?
How can they reach me? So my email is easy to remember. It's rent, R-E-N-T, driver, D-R-I-V-E-R, rentdriver@gmail.com. I've been in real estate for over 30 years. Feel free to email me. Certainly on Pacer, you can keep track of the federal case. So I'll read the docket number out here. Thankfully, Pacer is public. So, literally everything I'm telling you is verifiable. There's nothing here which isn't a certification, including the cameras that are now certified in the case with Judge Rahman. So the case on Pacer is in the Federal Southern District, New York, White Plains. It is called Marc Fishman versus Officer Lane Schlesinger and New Rochelle City. Okay. The docket is 19, that's 19-CV, that's Charlie Victor, -00265-NSR, Nelson S. Rahman. And please pray with me and Mary and others that Judge Rahman has the heart, empathy, soul, determination and civil rights advocacy to help those of us, many in my disability community, who cannot help themselves. And I
Oh,
want to say,
wow.
Maryann, I want to thank you for having me. And I want to thank Judge Rahman, because what I didn't tell everyone is his advocacy to help me and others with the disability discriminating cops is even more humbling, because Judge Rahman was an 8-year cop in the South Bronx before he was a judge. So Judge Rahman has crossed the blue line. What blue line? There is no blue line. If you discriminate against disabled people, what blue line? You should fight for the disabled person, not the
Mm-hmm.
cop.
Mm-hmm.
We all know George Floyd was disabled. Why the hell do you have a leg at his knee? You know he's disabled. Come on. You know, Breonna Taylor. What the hell do you no knock warrant? You kill her? You know, what about the kid in Memphis? He's dating one of the cops' girlfriends. Oh, let's kill him. He's from California. He's a California surf boy. Let's kill him. Now, he had a mental impairment. Okay? Why do you hate disabled people? What do we do? Oh, you're a cop. You think you're immune. No, there's no qualified immunity to disability discrimination. There was
Mm-hmm.
no safety reason to deny Marc Fishman accommodations. You denied him because you wanted me arrested. You denied him because you wanted me to lose. You wanted a setup. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You thought that your little scheme would help. Well, the police chief is fired. Lower lieutenant's fired. My officer got fired on the 19th of July. The mayor was fired. The mayor was charged with misdemeanors, agreed not to rerun. Noel Branson. We just had Officer Kane suspended, who planted evidence of drugs on a mentally impaired person. We had Officer Vaccaro suspended and fired, who beat up a mentally impaired autistic person on camera because the mentally autistic person told the cop to go F himself at a gas station. The cop was in plainclothes. And luckily there was an Albanian filming it.
Mm-hmm.
But, the DA prosecuted Vaccaro, but Vaccaro got acquitted from the judge. How do you acquit somebody for beating up someone? But guess what? They got taken to the hospital. Marc Fishman didn't get taken to the hospital. If you have someone in your precinct who you think is too sick or has an occipital neuralgia attack, you take him to the hospital. You know what they said to me, Maryann? We're not even going to touch you. Take off your jacket. We're going to put you in the back. Put me in the back for what? Just go in the back. You're going to pat me down? No, we don't want to pat me down. You have implants. We don't want to touch you. We're afraid of touching you. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of touching me for? Just go in the back. Really? So, hey, the system needs federal monitors. I think under this president, we get federal monitors. Thankfully, you have them in Pennsylvania on the court system already. So it's easy to file a complaint now because those federal monitors will contact court right away and your complaint will be elevated.
That's great. That's great. Well, hey, don't jump off, okay? Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't even know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you so much, Marc Fishman, for all this valuable information. I totally appreciate you. And it's an honor to even interview you with everything you've been through and everything you're doing for the disabled people.
Thank you. And thank you for all your advocacy. And thank you for your sacrifice going to jail and your endless advocacy for getting the kids back. We will win this war. And I think we'll win it sooner rather than later. And, for all those warriors out there, stay the course. I have 3 warrants against me. If the cops want to get me, you know where I'm at. I'd rather be out to advocate for my family and others, but I'm not afraid of jail, and I'm not afraid of being discriminated against. I've been discriminated against, since this car accident in 2013. So, God said I live. I'm lucky to live. A lot of people did rehab with me, got brain bleeds, strokes, and they're dead. So one of the reasons I fight, no matter what they did to me, it ain't as bad as a lot of my friends who died from the symptoms of their brain injury. So I'm fortunate to be around.
Definitely.
At least some federal judges liked hearing from me because, quite frankly, they could have ended my cases whenever they wanted. I'm just Marc Fishman, but stay the course because advocacy and civil rights speak volumes. And unlike family court, there is no privacy in federal. So please feel free to Google my name, Marc Fishman. You look at you're going to see Marc Fishman versus Lane Schlesinger. And you could read all about the medical reports, the proofs of disability. It was overwhelming that I was disabled. But no, they don't want you to be because they don't want to accommodate you. They want you to fail. They want you to be a deviant. They want my ex-wife to have kids and not have to share, co-parenting with me. This is wrong. Violates the ADA. Let's support the ADA. Let's support disability rights.
Right. I agree. I agree. Thank you so much.